What was I gonna say? Wet hair don't care. I don't know.
We was racing toads, and he filled my toad up with bird shot.
Hi there, Bastion here. My throat is still messed up. Sorry. Today, we have a project that is not in the bag. While scrolling through various shopping websites, I'm always advertised weighted animals, like weighted stuffed animals. I'm gonna try to make my own weighted animal. I'm trying to get myself to sleep on my back, but it's not going very well because like my shoulder is messed up and I always just sleep directly onto my shoulder. So maybe holding something weighted on top of me will help. And why not make it a cute weighted animal? I have lots of beads. These look like glue gun dots. I don't know. But they were very cheap from the craft thrift store. And this guy, I forget where I got him, but I think it was probably Target. No. It was probably Meijer. Do you guys have a Meijer around you? I love Meijer. I think Meijers like my favorite grocery store. Is it a grocery store? It's got other stuff, obviously. I love this guy, even though it's the texture that, or not texture, it's the fur that I don't really like in stuffed animals, which is like the fur, like when you look close to it, it's super shiny and plasticky looking and like it comes out on your fingers. But it's got a cute texture shaved into it. So I guess that's why I like it. We are going to make him into a weighted stuffed animal. I have some ideas for how I could do this, but I don't know if they're going to work very well. I'm thinking maybe I need to make some kind of bag out of fabric to put inside of him to hold the stuff in place, kind of. Not too much, because I still want him to be a little floppy. But I don't know how much of this stuff I'm going to be able to put in. It looks like one bag would fit. But is that... I guess that's good, right? Yeah, so I'm just going to open him all up. And you see how his feet and his arms are sewn like flat against him? I think I'm going to take those off and try to leave them round like the bottom and like sew them roundly to his body. Does that make sense? And then I guess try to make a bag that's the same size, or maybe a few bags, and just sew them together because I want his feet and his arms to be a little weighted too. We'll see how this goes. I'm definitely gonna have to fill him up with a little more fluff too. I love him. Please help me name him because I don't know what to name him. I have 4 giant ones up here. Enid is over there. I don't know if you can see her. The big guy's Hoagie, and that's Amber, and that's Lucas. So give him a name, I guess, that fits. I went shopping the other day and got the coolest thing. Can you see that? This is a pen with glue on the inside. So you can glue tiny pieces of paper into scrapbooks. It glues pretty well. And it's adorable and extremely convenient. Let's see if we can figure out how to open him up. I say wish me luck a lot, but you know, maybe I don't need it. I definitely need it. Without arms or legs. It kind of reminds me of like a weird dinosaur bowling pin. So I went ahead and took off his arms and legs, which are here. I'm going to maybe cut off a little of the leg fabric here to make it a little more of a circle so I can just sew the legs on as a circle so they're connected to the body. And then for the arms, I'm probably gonna sew up the neck because they were just like sewn into the neck. So I'm gonna sew up the neck and then I'm gonna put them a little farther down and also sew them round. I am gonna take the I'm gonna take the foam? I'm gonna take the stuffing out and fluff it up a little because it's like weird plasticky feeling fluffing. It's not fluffing? Did I say fluffing before? I said stuffing, right? Fluffing, that's the new word, it's fluffing. I'm gonna take the fluffing out and I'm going to like, what's the word? Don't do that. Fluff it? I'm gonna like squish it around and pull it apart some to make it a little fluffier and squishier. And I have some other stuffing already. I'm probably going to use some of my stuffing rather than this because I think my stuffing is a lot more squishy than this weird plasticky stuff. I should be just looking on Google for this, but I'm just stubborn and I'm doing it all myself. I guess I'm going to get 2 pieces of fabric that are the size, like the shape of the body, because I'm not going to worry about putting anything in here. I'm just going to keep this fluffed. I'm going to get the fabric that's the shape of the body, put 2 pieces of fabric together, and then put the beads inside of it. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I don't know. I'm just going to show you. I think we're gonna do a little bit of a time lapse and see what happens with this. I guess I'm gonna have to cut all the way across this. I am so sorry, little guy. So here we go. Let's do some more chopping to this poor little dinosaur bowling pin. The first thing I did was take out the original stuffing. It was such a hard, weird material, and I tried to unfluff it, but I didn't even bother. I just got my own stuffing instead. And for the inside, with the whole beanbag body part, I decided to use an old Shein shirt that I was going to get rid of anyway. This stuffing I have actually had for years. So I went through the stuffing and just pulled it all apart because I got that idea from Graveyard Balloon and made it extra squishy and put it back in to test it out, make sure it was the squishiness that I wanted. Look at his little face. Oh my goodness. For a moment I contemplated just making him into a puppet because he was cute. Oof. But then I changed my mind. The first thing to do after everything was taken out was measure the body so I could make the main beanbag that was going to go inside of him. I didn't need to be too specific or careful of the measurements or whatever, because I figured I could just cut it more if I needed, you know, just wing it. So I pinned it, I chopped it, and once that was all done, I went ahead and instead of sewing it by hand like I was thinking I was going to do, I just popped out my sewing machine and sewed it all together. These are the beans that I got from the thrift store, and I used a paper funnel. Worked pretty well. I sewed up the armholes where they were, and I'm going to, here, let me put him as a puppet. I'm going to take the arms and sew them instead a little bit farther down. I didn't want the arms to be floppy, like they would be if I just like put beans in them. So I made these. I took inspiration from a weighted blanket, and I put like little pockets. I'm gonna put it in here, and this makes it the whole thing heavy instead of just like floppy on the end. So I got the arms figured out. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with the legs. By the way, sewing machine troubles, okay? I don't know what's going on with my sewing machine. I have tried every troubleshooting thing that I can do. All of the thread keeps bunching up and yeah. You see this? I don't know why it's doing that, but it keeps like getting stuck and like pulling the fabric inside the bottom thing. I don't know, but I've oiled it, I've cleaned it, I've taken like the whole thing apart. I don't know what the problem is. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it for a while. The other thing that I'm not sure what to do about, I haven't completely closed it yet, but this is the bean sack. Yeah, this is what all the beans are in that I'm going to put in the main body. Don't do that. This is a large thing to try to section off parts, but I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do. Am I gonna end up having to sew this by hand? I don't know, because when I was trying to sew, even just with these small little arm pockets, it was hard to put the beans in and then try to pin it so that there weren't any beans coming through. And I'm pretty sure my needle got stuck on some of these little beans a few times, so that's probably also not good for my sewing machine. I guess I'm going to section this off and then cut out parts to then do the same things to the legs as I did to the arms. Does that make sense? It's really hard to try to record while I am doing this stuff with the sewing machine. So once I'm done with the sewing machine stuff, I'll record putting it together, like sewing it and stuffing it and seeing what happens at the end. Okay. After sewing on his little arms and putting some stuffing back in his face, I got to work on the legs. And I did the same thing with the legs that I did with the arms. I took the pieces of cloth and made kind of like a weighted blanket type thing and stuffed it in. And then to make it feel less like just a beanbag, I put stuffing on one side and then pinned it and sewed the beanbag part onto one side of the leg on the inside. And then put fluffing on the other side so that you couldn't really feel the beans except for on the bottom, and it looks almost like he could freaking stand up at this point. I did end up doing the weighted blanket type deal with the entire beanbag body, and after this it was just putting the stuffing in on both sides and then sewing the legs on. Go get the shorter one in the living room. It's ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous?
Because it's so fat.
That's the fun.
Here's the final result.
He's as heavy as he looks.
He's about 5 pounds. And I put his legs on. Here, catch.
He's a hefty boy. What's his name?
They'll probably tell us.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't know how I feel about him because I wanted him to be a little more floppy, but he's so firm. It's like I put an actual basketball inside of him.
I'm dummy thick.
That's the worst meme.
I try to sneak up on the T-Rex, but the clap of these cheeks.
No, okay. Why did I ask him to be in the what is this? The outro. So I don't know how I feel about him, but
he's lovely, dear.
I don't really want to take him apart and change it because I mean I kind of like how round he is. I don't know, maybe I'll find a different stuffed animal to do another one and make it a little more floppy.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one.
When do I put out new videos?
Smash that bell button. I'll make him floss.
Oh, you hold him, I'll do his arms.
Okay.
I forget.
How are you so bad at this?
It's hard to do when it's
You're
not,
only 4 years older than me?
it's hard to do when it's not my body.
It's just... he's a baby, he's a zoomer.
He's not a zoomer, he's a baby.
So what does he do?
He doesn't do anything, he's a baby.
He's too heavy.
Oh, he's a baby. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. I put out new videos every Friday, and
We love your faces. I'll see you next time.
that way.
Here you go.